Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Magic Beans podcast. This is episode number 171. My name is Cracker, and I will be your host today. And I'm joined by a single bean and my good mate, Chewy. How are you?
I'm really good, mate. How are you?
Great.
Excellent. Yeah, Shorty's still... I
in Littleton territory now.
Yeah, Alice Springs, the last update I had. Wearing Crocs. Not good, Shorty. Not good.
No, I don't know what's going on there, mate. You're in the bush. It's thongs or blunnies, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no in-between, right? Yeah. And look, he was in full drive mode in the photo that I saw. He had the little, sport mode thing at the back. So it might just be because his ankles are so skinny they fall out of Crocs normally. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's never a good look. You know why Crocs have those holes in them?
Why is that?
It's so your dignity can flow out. Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
So probably polarised a bit of the Magic community there, but yeah, if you wear Crocs, you deserve it. All right.
Hard agree.
But yeah, it's. I hope he's having a good time, and probably be listening to this driving through like the West McDonnell Ranges somewhere, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So, mate, we've got a few things to talk about this week. Some news, some updates on top eights from various different events. But before we talk about all those things, do you want to tell us about who let us have a top eight that the Magic Beans ran? Absolutely.
I say fine folk, I feel like I'm underselling them, but the brilliant humans of Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar. They are the official sponsor of the Magic Beans podcast and our tournament series, of which we just had a league conclude. And they are a Facebook auction page. They do nightly auctions. They do claim lots and win it now posts. So however you prefer to purchase your Magic cards, whether you want the fun of an auction or you just want them, you see them there, you want them, go to jpmtgbazaar.com.au. They meet all of your needs. They've got a full-time auctioneer, which means that the shipping, packaging and communications are as good as the prices, and that's saying something. So go over jpmtgbazaar.com.au, get bidding, and when you do win, just tell them that the Bean sent you. And they'll keep sponsoring us. You get cheap Magic cards, and we get our free to enter leagues with excellent prizes. All you need to do is just tell them that we sent them your way.
Absolutely. Now's a really good time as well. Like you said, there's the claim lots. So Pat's been listing just heaps of Commander Master cards because they're available now. So the set has been fully released, so people will start getting their hands on those. So just literally jump into one of his posts and say, I want 4 of these or whatever it is that you need. Commander cards, so you can just get one, I guess.
Well, it depends. It depends how many Commander decks you have.
That's true.
Right, there are staples being reprinted in Commander Masters. So yeah, get your Jeweled Lotus here sort of thing. So
yeah, for sure. Good. So go check it out. So, I mean, let's start there. Let's talk about our league that we've just wrapped up. So this was our Explorer League, which has been running for a while, it feels like. But we had the top 8 play out over the last week or so. And the finals came down to Mark Wallbang and Aragoth.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we if you haven't listened to our previous cast, we did go through some of the deck lists, gave some predictions. We were mostly wrong. But
us wrong on predictions for Magic decks we've never played.
I know, right?
That seems inconceivable.
But super stacked top 8 and a worthy final pairing of Plains versus Forests with Mark Wallbang with his mono white list taking down Aragoth's mono green 2-0 in the final. So congratulations to all of our top 8 competitors. But for Mark Wallbang, you are the Explorer League champion. You've secured a seat at the Invitational and a nice little prize purse as well. So absolutely amazing. So coverage is a little bit different on this one. What are we doing there with our the coverage of these top 8s, and where can you find those matches?
Our mods have been jumping in, actually, and they have been doing commentary over a bunch of the top 8 matches, which has been really cool. It was great for them to volunteer their time on this one again, and it's been really good. I watched bits and pieces of it. I haven't gone through the whole thing. I uploaded one, I think it was last week or the week before, to our YouTube channel. It's about 2 hours of content there, which is pretty fantastic. It took a while for my upload to render it in HD, but we got there. It happened eventually.
Absolutely.
So yeah, go check out YouTube. The link will be in the show notes. I'll make sure to put it in there. But I've got the final as well, which needs to be... We'll get that
we'll get that one up very, very shortly. Yeah, okay, that's great. So we might say we've got modified coverage for this, but one of the highlights, I think, of the coverage was J-Mud's beanie. Like, J-Mud, turn the heater on, mate. Like, you live in Geelong in winter. You look like you were camping in the snow.
He just came back from Fiji, mate. So he's still probably like suffering climate shock, I think.
Yeah, okay. That is fair enough. He also, there's not a lot of J-Mud either. He doesn't have a high percentage of body fat, so he probably feels the cold quite acutely. But they did a great job.
I've got some I can lend him.
Yeah, I've got some spare.
Fat.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Mate, I can crew Sky Sovereign on my own. Don't worry about that. So... But it's great to see those guys on there. We've got some amazing magic talent and magic brains in our mod group, and to see those guys take the reins with that, particularly while Shorty's away and things as well. Stepping through the breach and doing that coverage and doing an amazing job. So well done, guys. We'll have another league announced quite shortly. And Cracker, we need to get together and talk about a one-day event with our mods as well. To sort of see what we can do there. Maybe some limited was pretty popular.
Yeah, we could do sealed when Wilds releases, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. So if you have some ideas on what you would like for a one-day event, jump over to our Discord. Again, link in the show notes, and tell us what you would like. And we'll take some community feedback and. Maybe we'll run 2. Who knows? So
yeah, I mean, we only put them on because you guys want to play in them, right? So
exactly.
Let us know what you want to play, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, to be up to date with all of that stuff, jump over to our Discord. That is the place to go. So
correct,
absolutely.
So some big news that came out was today, actually. This morning I saw it.
I think so. Yeah.
The One Ring, which we found. Well, we didn't find, sadly, which was found in Canada, has been sold to, unsurprisingly, Post Malone has purchased that one. And quite the sum of money, mate. So there were bounties out, which kind of escalated all the way up to like €1 million they were up to. This went for $2 million is what he sold it.
Yeah.
Bought it for.
Insane. That is one life-changing sum of cash right there. I tell you what, that is.
Yes.
Yeah. So congratulations to that person, and I guess to Posty for being the ring bearer for at least the time being. I guess many others might have been tempted by it, but it. I've got.
They didn't have Smaug's Horde to help fund.
No, that's right. That is, it's. If I knew a single Post Malone song, I could probably throw some song titles out there.
Sure. Yep.
So I saw him live, super entertaining dude. But his music's not for me. I guess it's the appreciate that he's a talented guy. He's a great performer. Not enough distorted guitar and false fold fry screaming going on for my musical taste, but he can do that actually. Posty, do a metal album, mate. I know you're listening. Congratulations. Kind of a bit of a bow on one of the biggest talking points in Magic's history. This treasure hunt and is it real? Is it, who will open it? Everybody was like, what if I got one sort of thing.
Yeah, of course. How can you not? Particularly the prices were going up and up and up.
Absolutely. Look, mate, I could spend $2 million pretty quickly, I reckon.
So,
absolutely. I'd have a better microphone than I've got now. There we go.
Yeah, and no mortgage.
Yeah. Absolutely. That'd be nice. Could afford to get a haircut. I'd probably get my hair fixed so I wasn't so bald. Yeah, many things, mate. Yeah, it'd be great. But it's it's nice to see that. I wonder if they'll, give it a couple of years and do something similar in the future. I'm not sure, but I hope they don't do it too soon. It was a cool thing, agreed. But it would wear off pretty quickly. Yeah,
it would, and it would devalue everything. It's interesting there's some speculation now as to whether it is now, like, whether it is worth that much. I mean, the value of anything is what someone is willing to pay for it, right? So, strictly
but could
speaking,
Posty sell it today, for $2.5 million, right? Probably not.
Maybe. Now that he's owned it, though, does that increase the value, right?
Oh, because of who he is.
Correct, because of star-owned things, sometimes they could increase in value. But it's a ludicrous amount of money. But from what I've seen, he has no interest in selling it, certainly not immediately. So I expect he'll hang on to it for a long time. I saw a clip on Twitter of the guy, I forget his name, of when he just opened it. And so he's got it in the sleeve in his house. He's filming it with his phone and he is shaking like you would not believe. Honestly, he's shaking more than Shorty does when he opens a magic card.
Wow.
I know, that's a lot.
That's incredible. Yeah. I would be too. Exactly the same.
I don't know that I'd be willing to pick it up. I think I'd just put it on a table and put it in a sleeve and then just look at it. I don't know that I want to walk around holding on to it.
Yeah, no, I would not want to. Yeah, but no, good on them. And did the right thing with the process as well, and made sure that everything was done right and protected himself and all the rest of it. So, congratulations, young man. Enjoy an easier existence than you might have. So that's great. What else is happening in the Magic world, mate?
So we've just come off the back of the Pro Tour, and as part of that, there was a whole bunch of announcements, which we'll kind of get to as there are more cards that come along. So we'll definitely spend a fair bit of time talking about the PT and the Magic Con and all the stuff that came with it. But there was a bunch of Doctor Who Commander cards that were being previewed. So they're doing Doctor Who Commander theme sets, it's the Universes Beyond thing. So like the Warhammer 40k decks that we just had a little while ago. So they've, previewed the Doctor and the TARDIS and Missy and a few other things. So
have they got the Angels yet? I'd be interested to see that card design.
Oh, the Weeping Angels? I haven't seen that one. There's very few that they've actually kind of previewed.
I think I've seen art for a Dalek, but I can't remember if it was just the art.
Yeah, there's a Davros, I'm pretty sure.
Yep,
that I saw. So there's definitely a few things kicking around. Shorty and J Mudd will be very excited and talk about that,
I think maybe when that comes out, we'll get J Mudd on to talk with Shorty, because I'm a casual Doctor Who viewer. Yep.
There were a few seasons there that I watched, a couple of Doctors that I enjoyed, and then that's about the extent of it for me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was some of the cards that we've started to see, and then also we're now getting, because it's always preview season, mate. Throne of Eldraine, it's the next Eldraine set.
Wilds of Eldraine?
That's the one, Wilds of Eldraine. So saw some cool art for a goose with approximately 9 heads, I think it was, or something
Hydra
like that.
Goose. Does it makes 9 foods? It's like the 3 Llanowar elves, right?
Sure. Llanowar tribe. Yeah, I know the one.
Yeah.
So we've started to see some art. They've previewed Ashiok as the Planeswalker. Now, there's a change that came out as part of this. I don't know if you heard. They've announced that they're only going to do 1 Planeswalker per set moving forwards.
Which is very, very interesting, because I know...
It's a big about face.
Well, it wasn't that long ago that we had War of the Spark, where there was just infinite Planeswalkers. But I think, this is just a way to get the density down and things, and it's tied to some storyline stuff, which we won't delve too deeply into that fluff, but it does make, particularly from a limited perspective, super special if you open a Planeswalker, and hopefully that means that they're appropriately powerful as well, and Ashiok seems decent, doesn't seem broken, but seems playable.
It seems like you have to work for it, which is cool. I prefer Planeswalkers where they're not just generically powerful effects, right?
Yeah,
like you have
absolutely.
a deck that's built around what it does, and then you leverage it, and it kind of pops off in its own way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it requires some synergistic cards included in the deck rather than just the appropriate mana.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, it's interesting. The 7 people that play Oathbreaker are upset by it, but it is it's a different tack. You know, like we've had a lot of Planeswalkers. You know, each of the recent sets have come with multiple, and we've had some real misses. We've had some role players, and we've had some absolute powerhouses. Like if you think, obviously Oko is the one that comes to mind when we're talking about Eldraine, but think about
Wandering Emperor,
absolutely. You know, various Teferis, Lilianas, and things along the way. There's been some sort of format-defining, not warping, but format-defining Planeswalkers, or maybe Baby Tef was format warping. But yeah, it's very interesting with the direction. Interested to see how it goes. Don't hate it.
So, do you want to hear the tin foil hat theory about why they're pulling back on it?
Okay, yep. Like I'm in.
Because Commanders, bad for Planeswalkers. So
every set's a Commander set.
Every set is a Commander set. Legendary cards are more important than Planeswalkers are, so they can be your Commanders. And Planeswalkers are generally, unless you're playing like full-on Super Friends, they're generally not great in Commander. They're amazing in 60-card formats when they're good, right? You have a lot more potential there. But like a Planeswalker lasting a full turn cycle of 3 people, if it's really oppressive, attacking it, like Oko in Commander is whatever. Like no one cares. Yeah. Because you just, you pinged my thing. All right, cool. I'm going to cast, 11 things or whatever. Like you can just kind of go off around it, right? Whereas 60-card formats, it makes a big difference. So I that's a bit of a tinfoil hat thing that I've heard, which also makes sense. But I'm not mad about them pulling back on it. You got to work within different design spaces, and this is one of the many knobs that they can tweak. Let's go with it
absolutely.
For a bit, see how
and
it lasts.
The limitations breed creativity as well. So
sure.
that's it's good. I like it. Be interesting to see if they're always like multicolored, or whether that's whether they're going to have a mono or colorless Planeswalker in the future. I don't know. So yeah,
because all the colorless Planeswalkers totally fine. No problems with any of those at all.
Khan, mate, they're really good. So before we talk about Khan, though, with Eldraine comes the first of the new yearly ban cycles.
Yes, correct.
Now, do we talk about Khan?
We absolutely should and could.
Yeah. So Khan, the Great Creator, showed up on the weekend and shows up in other formats, and as though things like, I don't know, Fable of the Mirror Breaker and Sheoldred and things. So yeah, I'm not going to make any predictions. I'll wait to see, but I think Khan, the Great Creator, will be looked at. Let's just say that.
Yeah,
not sure which way they'll go.
Maybe. I hope we see unbans rather than bans. I think that'd be more fun.
I did see an article today where people are saying, give me back like Splinter Twin and Artifact lands. Like look at
Punishing Fire is what I've seen people talking about.
Yeah, that's actually feels ridiculous why that is on the banned list when you think about the power level of things at the moment. So yeah, I think that is definitely something that they could be better. They being Wizards could be better at is unbannings. But yeah, that's all in the context of Modern that we're kind of thinking at the moment, because there was a Modern Pro Tour on the weekend.
There sure was, and I watched a lot of it.
Okay,
I watched stacks. We all went to Chris's place on Saturday and ate some delicious food.
Oh, check out the food channel in the Discord. It was I didn't need to eat the next day, just quietly. Yeah,
I would have eaten the brisket again the next day.
It was really
if given the opportunity.
The mac and cheese wasn't bad either, mate. Don't worry about that.
Appreciate that.
It was really good. Yeah.
I was pretty pleased. But yeah, so we went to Chris's place with the goal of helping sort some of his collection, and we did. We did a good job. We got through a lot of cards. There's still a lot more to sort. But in the background, we had just a TV with coverage. So we had like day one from the modern section just playing in the background. And so, we're just sorting away and chatting and watching just a whole bunch of the early Swiss rounds, which was really, really good.
There was some cracking matches as well. It was,
yes,
people winning out of nowhere and some big brain plays. It was pretty exciting to watch.
So the limited portion, did you get a chance to watch some of that? We actually got to watch one of the drafters, didn't we? We sat through and watched Kai.
Yeah. And I drafted this set quite a lot. Like I went from bronze to plat in limited last season and really, really enjoyed it. I had a winning record, which probably helped me enjoy it, but
sure.
It was a really, really fun draft experience where, there's a lot of cool synergies. There's a lot of powerful things. There's a lot of things that you think are medium, but in the right situation can become really cool. All of the 2-color pair seemed relatively even. Like the Grixis colors, I think probably the best, but
yeah, I heard green-white is probably the weakest, but if no one else is drafting green, then it actually can be pretty good.
It can be bonkers, yeah, the food synergies and things that you can get. There's a few things that are, you're like, oh, why is that only sorcery speed? This would be a good card if I could, like there's the 2-mana 2/2 dog thing that you can sack a food to put a 1/1 counter on it. Like if that was once per turn instead of only as a sorcery, like that whole archetype gets better, right? So just
it's a huge difference.
Yeah, but
limited as well. So you can't just you can't
Ned Tuco Husk it sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So a couple of things like that where it's just like, oh, this is almost really good. But yeah, it's a really, really fun format. And man, watching the pros draft it, like if you're not into limited, that's fine. But I guess for context, like if you watch a pro play a constructed format versus, your average F&M player, like the actual draft portion's the same sort of difference where like reading the signals, understanding what their deck needs at the time, understanding where the table's at and prioritizing picks and things is a massive skill, an underrated skill in Magic, I think, because we put a lot of stock in the constructed stuff, where the limited stuff, there is so much in the way of skill. And if these players didn't, 3-0 or 2-1 their drafts, they wouldn't have made top 8s anyway. So it's you can't ignore the limited portion of an event like this.
No, you cannot. And I'll tell you what, this is the best limited coverage I've seen.
They stepped it up.
They like quite often in the past I would skip the draft portion because like I don't play a lot of limited, so unless it's a format I'm particularly like
Cube
in with, Cube, obviously I love I watch a lot of Cube, but like watching Kai draft and having it over his shoulder and the speed at which that like the focus they had was really, really good. So Kai did a good job in terms of like showing
understanding
cards to camera.
that he was on coverage,
understanding his role, but also just like the way that they had everything set up and like it was actually really easy to follow, and you could see like his last pick and you could see like all the picks that he'd made, so you could see like where he's testing the waters on things and where he's settling into what he's trying to do and then like the specific things he's looking for, and the coverage was really good. The
coverage really supported
were really
that
strong.
Right. Yeah, having I think they like Cheon and and Co, who were limited fans themselves and being, because it was like I think they just did a really good job on coverage in general, like graveyard camps and things. But
yes,
when a player was playing the like grinding station combo deck, Corey Bowmaster was commentating, who knows that deck really well, so he could talk about the lines and things that it was really, really on point with the coverage. And then similarly, Paul Cheon, you've played more limited than anybody else. You're covering the limited portion and doing an amazing job as well. So it's very cool It's not just a rotation. You know, they put some thought into it. So from a direction perspective and all the rest of it, like, great job. Production was good.
Yeah,
It was really
and
good.
also like matches had like 2.5 minutes of downtime in between them. There's no huge gaps, which is a thing that they've been doing for a little while now. But also when there were pre-recorded matches to sort of keep up and catch up, they actually like played them at 1.5 times speed. So they're not so fast that you can't follow it, but like a lot of that dead time, because it's modern, right?
There's a lot of shuffling.
Fetching, there's a lot of shuffling, there's a lot of like thought seizing people's hands and making decisions based on, you know, what they're going to take and all that sort of stuff. So like there's complicated things that are just a lot of like nothing's happening. Like it's just a lot of, you know, sitting there with, you know, the commentators having a pad. So it actually helped condense that a lot. So
yeah, it was really good.
Really, really good job. So maybe we should quickly talk about the metagame and what was represented.
Yeah, absolutely, because it was a spicy one, really.
Yeah. I don't think there was anything that showed up. So, I mean, Rakdos Evoke, scam, right? They don't want to call it scam on coverage because I guess there's negative connotations to that word. But if you see the deck in play, it's kind of a scam. Was the most played at 19.3%. And then you've got 4-color Omnath, and then Rhinos, Mono Green Tron, Yawgmoth, Dimir Control, which is a one-ring deck, which has actually got 5.9%. So it's actually quite represented above Living End, which was next. And then
surprising.
Yeah, very much so to me. Burn, Is It Murktide, 5-color Creativity, Jeskai Breach, and then Other. So Other makes up the most of the field at 53 decks, so 19.7%. So basically about the same as Rakdos Scam. So the only deck that wasn't kind of a known factor or a previous deck coming in, I think was just Dimir Control. Like if you had read me this list, I wouldn't have been surprised by any of those except for Dimir Control. And that was the thing I started to hear about, you know, a couple of weeks before where, you know, it was just leveraging the ring and counter spells and removal and that sort of stuff. So a typical control archetype. It kind of got crushed. It didn't do very well. Not as badly as Omnath. So a lot of people thought that Omnath was going to be was definitely the top of the ring decks, right? Because you accelerate into the ring, then you play your Omnath, you get your life back, or you play Omnath, you generate your mana. It's exactly what you need to cast your ring. You draw some cards, you kind of chain off. But it got crushed, man. It just got absolutely dominated.
Well, Mono Green Tron is a bigger mid-range deck.
It's the biggest mid-range deck.
Absolutely. And like the Rakdos Evoke decks, the Scam decks, probably the only deck running, apart from, you know, maybe something in Other and Burn. There's not a lot of Blood Moons going around, but, you know.
Tron doesn't care anymore.
Tron's kind of evolved past that as well. So, they're at least playing like single copy of Big Daddy Khan. Like they are like lower to the ground and it's changed. It's not Tron from 5 years ago.
No.
It's, and I think they said on coverage they were talking to, one of the teams where they were like, we think starting with these 12 lands is the best way to go. And let's scrap everything we think we know about Tron and build this like it's a brand new archetype that we've had no experience with. And the Tron decks look a little different. So
So if you look at Simon Nielsen's list, because there's a couple of Trons in the top 8, and Simon Nielsen, who is absolutely killing it, absolutely,
he's on a tear.
But his list has got some really spicy things. Like it's got a talisman of resistance in it, which is the green-black talisman, which is really different, and it's also playing Urza Sagas. So the not it's the other Urza land, I guess. Right? It's actually not playing two. Oh wow, good job, Wizards. It's got 2 Urza Sagas in the land slots and 2 in the enchantment slots because why not? Thanks magic.gg. It is playing the full 4 because it lets you fetch out your relic if you need it, or your map most of the time to go and get your other Tron piece. So it is pseudo Tron.
Even just like a sphere or a star.
Yeah, exactly. under Blood Moon. Well, no, it doesn't work on a Blood Moon. It dies instantly. But I was going to say, like, that's one of the ways that it kind of gets out. And then Boseiju as well is the thing that kind of goes around it. But the cards for the competition, in a lot of ways, there's Khan out of Little Khan, the Great Creator.
And look, I have downticked Khan the Great Creator a lot in Modern, right? Mm-hmm. Not with Tron lands in play, but I have different. My Eldrazi creature is a bit smaller than Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, but he's in the sideboard. But the Wish board, so also like Khan does Stony Silence things. Mm-hmm. Khan turns things into creatures. Like he's a very versatile thing, but being able to go and get a Chalice of the Void in game 1 against the Rhinos deck, being able to get a Sundering Titan or a Cityscape Leveler against the Omnath decks, being able to get a Haywire Might to blow up, a Blood Moon, even, who cares if they've got, if they're mountains, because Khan's Colorless, so Haywire Might, and then you can use your star to get the green. There's a Stone Brain for obvious reasons, and then like it's just so powerful. And when you've got 7 mana, it just wins really easy. And sometimes you get to 7 mana, you cast Little Khan, you cast your Ensnaring Bridge, and you just wait until you draw something.
No, I saw that. So I watched pretty much the whole top 8, and Calcano did that. So Christian Calcano playing a slightly different version of Mono Green Tron, a little, I want to say more traditional. Mm-hmm. It's playing 2 copies of Khan Liberated and also a copy of Eugene, the Spirit Dragon, and then a couple of copies of Wormcoil and Ulamog as kind of its payoffs, but no Urza's Sagas. So it's a more traditional kind of mana base and things. But I
like the Gemstone Caverns.
Yeah, Gemstone's really good.
The Misers,
So, I saw him on a number of occasions just cast Khan, fetching Snaring Bridge, cast it, and then, hey, congratulations, your 4/4 double striking
Fury.
Scammed back Fury can't attack anymore, or, and just buys those turns to, get your O-Stone in play and working, and then you blow up your bridge, and then you do whatever you need to. Like, there's just you have Tron, right? Obviously, you assemble that, and then you go and get your Walking Ballista. Sure.
And then you just win with that. Like you lock up the game, and and it's just like, oh, okay, you killed my thing now. Now I'll just start casting Ulamogs, right? It's just like, I'll either kill you with a ballista firing over a bridge, or I'll make you jump through hoops to get rid of my artifact, and then I will be able to then unleash the rest of my deck. So I've done that in E-Tron plenty. This deck does it better, right? Because it goes bigger on its mana. So it's absolutely a viable way to win, and a little bit of a fun way to win, I've got to tell you as well. So and Gigantha in the
companion
sideboard
slot
as well, in the companion slot is good. They're all playing
free roll.
Yeah, they're all playing the One Ring. Like it's good. Warping Whale. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yep.
Yeah, I saw Warping Whales counter Rhinos.
Yep.
It's a very strong card. I mean, because sometimes they have that in the main, so sometimes you don't have your Chalice.
Your Chalice, yeah.
So, really, really powerful. But Scam took it down.
Yeah,
and
only 1 copy in the top 8.
Yes.
Right, but got the job done. Right, so I'd be interested to see the breakdown, actually, to see how well it performed overall. But it
was pretty good.
Yeah, okay. If you haven't seen this, so Fury and Grief with the Undying Malice
and Feign
Death. Yeah. So you evoke them out, and then you get like double triggers, and then you get the creature sticks around. One of the breakout cards of the format or the weekend is Orcish Bowmasters. And then Dwarthy Voidwalker doing good things in, against the Living End matchup as well.
No. Dwarthy Voidwalker is the most disgusting card I've ever seen. I kid you not.
It's got a lot of text for 2 mana.
Yes. So this guy, Jake, who was playing Rakdos, he, in the semi-finals, played against Amulet Titan.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him cast 2 Titans, 2 Primeval Titans from underneath the Dwarthy Voidwalkers. Yeah. Wow. And then in one of the games in the final, so he's playing against Christian Calcano, he had Thoughtseize on turn 1, didn't play it. Played Dwarthy Voidwalker on turn 2, Thoughtseize on turn 3, and he took Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, attacked him for 3 with Dwarthy Voidwalker, and then sacked it, cast an Ulamog on turn 3.
Without paying its mana cost.
It is stupidly broken.
Yep.
That card is completely insane. And Calcano was just like, as soon as he just like shook his head in resignation and literally just like flicked the card over to him. So like he knew what was going on. And he was on turn for a turn 4 Ulamog. Like just
he was doing his
fair
thing.
way. He was doing it the fair way, Chewy. He was actually going to tap 4 lands for 10 mana. And was gonna cast it the proper way. But yeah, this Dwarthy Voidwalker, there is a lot of text on it. It exiles things. The other thing that I saw it do was it cast against rhinos. So I think he played against Kai. And so Kai cast the Crushing Footfalls, right? Came off suspend. Mm-hmm. It gets exiled, goes under Dwarthy Voidwalker. So he sacked it to then cast the Footfalls. Mm-hmm. In response to the sack trigger, he cast a Feign Death, so it came back into play, and then the Footfalls goes back underneath the Dwarthy Voidwalker, and then he got to sack it again. So he ended up with 4 rhinos for the low price of 3 black mana.
Wow.
So it's totally bananas, because it ignores the fact that it has 0 mana cost, and like it did some really, really dirty stuff. So
yeah, MH2 cards, huh?
Yeah, turns out they're real good.
Well, actually, one like the biggest MH2 card probably took a little bit of a nosedive in its dominance of the format, right? Like, yes, there's 4 Ragavan in this deck, but like the Ragavan stocks have somewhat diminished. Mm-hmm. Right, it's still amazing. I'm not saying it's no longer playable or anything like that. Like, absolutely not. But it's not as busted. Like, the formats have adapted, I guess, is what's happened.
So 100%. So I guess like Bowmasters has a lot to do with that. It's such a clean answer.
Yep.
To just be able to ping it down. And the main decks that were really strong with that was Murktide, right? Like Murktide was the format bad guy for quite a while.
Yeah.
Where it was the deck to beat, and it was because it was the best Ragavan deck, it was the best DRC deck. You just sat behind counter magic and, then eventually had a big Murktide. But
played a good fish game, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, it really did. It's just it doesn't get to cast the ring. It doesn't get to cast Bowmasters, and these cards, or Delighted Halfling is the other card that we should probably talk about, which saw quite a bit of play over the weekend as well.
And Bowmasters, good answer.
Yes, well, Bowmasters doesn't answer Delighted Halfling because it's got 2 toughness. But,
it does, yes.
But yeah, it saw play in the Yawgmoth decks and also in the 4-color Omnath decks as well.
Yeah, turn 3 Omnath seems good.
Yeah, and it also means that your ring is uncounterable. So it's kind of dirty for that. So Murktide still can just win. Like it's very powerful cards.
100%.
Right? Like it can be a very proactive deck, but it's just kind of not keeping up. And like, if go watch the finals, like go watch because it went to 5 games. Game 4 is probably the wildest game of Magic I can think of.
Okay.
Like it is truly phenomenal. Like it's worth just going right to the end of the VOD and watching that game, like that 5-game set, because it just shows the resilience of Tron. Like it just, you can get double scammed, double griefed on turn 1 and then you're getting beat down for 3 with Menace and 3 with Menace. And like, it doesn't have a good way of interacting with that, but just the holes that it dug itself out of, the power of that deck and the play from these guys is just insane. The lines that they take in, the understanding of like, what their role is in any given turn and like what they need to do to win. And like lines that they're spending ages thinking about, the commentators like, oh, you can do this and you can do this, and then they'll do something different. You're like, that seems like a really strange choice, but they just knew. Like Calcano just knew, man. Like he's just wild. And then the commentators do that thing like we always do, where you catch on 2 minutes later and you're like, oh, he did this because of this, this, and this, and he's like 3 turns ahead of everyone. So like it was a masterclass. Yep. And the other one to watch is any of the Dominic Harvey Amulet Titan games.
Yeah, that's that deck hurts my brain.
It's a little I'm saying that the games were sped up. So it made Dom plays really fast, and when they put him on 1.5 speed, he plays really, really fast. So like it was kind of mind bending to watch. But the man wrote literally like an 80-page document on how to play.
Wow.
Amulet Titan. Like he has been on it since Summer Bloom days and has just never let it go. And it's paid off. Like this is the format where total mastery of a deck or understanding of format is better than having the most powerful thing, even though
we've been advocates of that.
Powerful 3.
Absolutely, yeah, we've been advocates of that from the start. Really,
always.
Like if you've got a deck that you absolutely love, and you've got a lot of experience with it, your win percentage will be higher than just picking up the new hotness. So if you've never played Scam or never played Mono Green Tron or never played Rhinos, but you've played something else that's a good deck, Burn, right?
Hammer Time,
right? Yeah, and you've been playing that for years. You need to understand that your win percentage will go down before it comes up, even though you might be playing a quote unquote better deck. So it's I guess just a lesson for modern in general. It's great to see a deck like this in the top 8 because we've got combo decks, right? Like like a lot of them are combo decks essentially. Like the Scam deck is a mid-range deck, but it's got a combo feel about it with the Evoke Elementals. Tron, kind of a combo deck.
Yeah, 100%.
Amulet Titan though is a much more pure combo focused deck. Like yes, it can cast prime times fairly and like just attack you, but it doesn't have a backup plan like the Scam or Tron decks do. Like it's a little more focused, right?
Yeah, 100%. I saw the prime times get stone brained, and he just screwed because there was no point in playing it out. Like
you're not going to beat down with Azusa.
Correct. Oh, Look out! I mean, you've got a Cultivator Colossus as like an out, but it just wasn't going to be enough. So if you look at all the decks that did well, they all have nut draws, just like straight up unbeatable nut draws. There's no Jund here.
No.
Right? Like Tron is not a fair deck.
No.
Rhinos is not a fair deck. Like you just can't afford to be. They're all very proactive. They're all, all combo-ish to some degree in terms of like they just have these just stone unbeatable hands sometimes. Like turn 3 natural Tron into Khan, still
very good, right? Yeah, absolutely.
But with like, Rhinos, you're just like force of negation your thing. Subtlety your next thing. Play my 3rd land. I've got 2 4/4s at your end step. Untap. Do it all again. Like just bounce your thing, kill your thing. Like it's just the full tempo game, right? And just getting like the 2 4/4s seem innocuous.
Yes.
They really do. And like I'd much rather cast Living Ends, but that's just me. I want to bring back 20 power at the end, but like it just plays like it's the best tempo deck, right? Like there are 2 copies in the top 8 for a reason. Kai, who's top 3 players of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? He brought it to the semifinals. Like these people just
Well, let's talk about the deck for those who aren't.
Sure.
So they have an out of Murktide Regent as an alternate win condition. So that's plan B.
Kai's got 2 copies of Questing Beast.
I love this. So talk to me. Why is Questing Beast good now? Pretend I'm brand new at this.
Because Questing Beast, in its many paragraphs of text, says combat damage that will be dealt by creatures you control can't be prevented. And the One Ring says, I have protection from everything, but...
Which prevents damage.
Correct. But it does not prevent Questing Beast. So you can play Rhinos, on your turn 3, right? They slam a ring on their turn 4, they draw a card, they sit back thinking they're chilling, and then you play Questing Beast, which has got haste, you 12 them out of nowhere. And,
but maybe 14 if you haven't done the
you Shardless Agent into it.
Yep,
of course,
absolutely. So I think it's pretty
and
good.
Then they untap and take damage from the ring on their draw step, and it's very, very strong. Also, the deck just got better with Lorien revealed. I
was absolutely going to talk about that. Like, this card is a common from Lord of the Rings, so it's got land cycling 1.
Yeah,
right?
Island cycling,
yes. So that is, in some cases, and not all, but I guess in the Rhinos deck, this is a better option. It lets you play less lands in your deck.
Correct.
And it finds your third land to be able to play your Shardless Agent or your Violent Outburst.
Yeah.
Or if the game goes long, and when you've got powerful decks that have those nut draws, sometimes you don't have those nut draws and you have to eke out a win.
Mm-hmm.
Draw 3 cards.
Mm-hmm.
Not the worst, right?
Nope. Super powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, all this deck wants to do is hit 3 lands on turn 3. That is the number one thing that you are trying to do. Same with Living End, but Living End is playing between sort of 4 and 8 of the new cyclers as well, the land cyclers in Oliphant and whatever the other one is.
The black one. Yep.
Yeah, the green one as well.
Okay.
They've kind of got a mix. But this is just it's such a good pickup because, it's versatile. But it does the main thing of like, I just want to hit my land drops every turn. Because you're playing mono 3 drops, apart from Fire, Ice, and Dead Gone, right? Those are kind of, I guess you've got like a bunch of free spells with subtleties and things as well. But
it's modern, yes.
Yeah, it is modern. You've got to play evoke creatures. Yeah, you have to hit your third land because you are playing from behind with the intention that when you hit your third land, your spells should catch you up.
Absolutely. And
but missing is awful.
Dead Gone and Fire Ice do bridge that gap really, really well.
They do. And
I the versatility of them, sometimes, tapping a thing, drawing a card, like, stops your opponent doing their thing because you can tap the land in their upkeep, or you can, tap down their big thing and attack past it or bounce it with Gone. You can dead their Delighted Halflings. You can, do all sorts of things like that. So, Force of Negation protects your combo as well. Like, this deck's really, really cool. And I think one of the things that, I know you love some Living Ends, right? Mm-hmm. Probably, as much as anyone I've ever met. Maybe Tom D loves it as much, but the suspend for 1 green rather than the 2 BB is phenomenally different, right?
Yeah,
less powerful
absolutely.
Effect inherently. Like Living Death is a very powerful spell, but if you're not as sad when you
it's
draw
not a
these.
Straight mulligan.
Yes, that's right.
Like your opening 7 with Living End in it is not an opening 7. It's an opening 6 with one of your 3 copies of cards that you really don't want in your hand. So you ship it immediately, right?
Whereas you suspend it on turn 1 and then you go like, the game's going to be about this, preparing for this, and we're going to play around it, and your opponent's going to, they can see it coming, and then that's going to warp the game, and you either get Rhinos or you're able to then position things to, make them have to deal with that, lets you double spell, etc., and you can get more Rhinos.
Yeah, this deck always gets Rhinos.
Yeah,
it just always has them, one way or another. So,
That's really cool.
I loved this top 8, man. It was so nice to just watch pros playing Modern again. Like, it felt like old times. We were talking about the last time.
Paper coverage.
Yeah. The last time we watched a Modern Pro Tour was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
At your place. And Tron won it then as well.
That's right. I remember Riley
Toffel,
Knight, bursting onto the stage and like picking his mate up, and absolutely. So Modern is a format really, really close to my heart. It's a format that got me back into Magic after a fairly long hiatus. It's a format that we've played a lot, and it's very different. It's evolved.
Oh yeah, it has.
But it's not bad at all. Like, the format seems all right. And the coverage made it look great as well. Like, and we touched on that earlier, but they did a really, really good job of covering those things. The player profiles, they've done a bit of star building. The commentary was really, really good. I can't wait for the next one. What's the next event? What's the next Pro Tour? What are we looking at next?
Good question. I think it is Worlds in Vegas. I think is the next big event, which has got the side event of Limited for $100,000.
Okay, we're going to Vegas one year, man. We've got to do it.
we do need to do it.
50th.
Was it you that sold that card for $2 million? Is that what's happening here? Like,
mate, I would absolutely fly us all to Vegas if that happened. Whew.
So
put it all on
Pat,
black. No.
Pat, if you wouldn't mind, just listen. Everyone needs to go buy more cards from Pat and tell him that we sent you, so that we can go to Vegas. All right.
Specifically, Cracker and Chewy.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Oh, that's well, speaking of Pat and events, actually.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so Pat is a pillar of the Magic community in Australia. He doesn't just sell cards. He sponsored 2 players to get to Barcelona this past weekend. And I think I got the names right. One of them actually were right up there, maybe 16th.
Yeah, we did have an Aussie player in the top 16.
Yeah, so got there with the support of Pat. Would not have gotten there without that. And, Pat doesn't hesitate with that stuff. And Pat, gives us, much more product and cash than what we ever agree to in a sponsorship deal. And, probably more than our listeners buy cards from him, right? Like, Pat is about giving back because he understands the value of the community, because Pat is a rare human and he's great. Another great rare human is Isaac Egan, who has been on the cast before from his Pro Tour top 8. And if you've played Magic in Melbourne, you are friends with Isaac probably, or Canberra, but you know him, right? He's Isaac. Everyone knows Isaac. Isaac and with some others at Plenty of Games here in Melbourne, have arranged a Highlander event for Pat's birthday. So the event is up on the POG Facebook group. We've shared it in our Discord. If you want to come and play some Australian 7-point Highlander, or you just want to come and hang out, have some games of Commander, come in. I think it's on the 4th of November. So a little bit of notice there. It's in another 3 months. There's a tropical island for first prize. So worth traveling for. There's going to be some more news and things coming up, but pencil that in. There's rumors of coverage of the event for those who can't make it. More news on that at a later date. Nothing confirmed yet, but I was talking to Isaac, and that something may be happening. So, but yeah, if you've never played 7-point Highlander before, highly recommend it. Super fun. Just get your favorite commander deck, turn it into a 60-card deck, and just come and play. It's really fun. Sometimes you get Thoracle, but most of the time you just have fun and, see people do things in really interesting ways. And it is, for a really, really, good thing just to give back to Pat a little bit. Yeah. Just say thank you and we appreciate you, because he's a legend.
He is. Yeah, fully back Highlander as well. It is like such a fun format. And they changed the rules recently so that if you don't have any cards on the reserve list, you get an extra point. So it's actually 8-point Highlander. So there's some incentives there. Your deck doesn't have to be, all dual lands and, voltaic time keys and stuff like that, whatever the voltaic key and
time vault.
Yeah, I know the things. So yeah, you don't have to spend, tens of thousands of dollars on your deck for it to be competitive. You can do just aggro, mono, red things and just win that way too. So whatever you want to do in Magic, Highlander has a deck for you to do that.
Absolutely. It's competitive 60 card commander without or it's like constructed cube.
Yeah.
Is a good way to look at it as well.
Yeah. Vintage singleton.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's super cool, super fun.
Cool. Yeah.
Great community. Awesome. Really supportive community for new players as well. And yeah, if you're in Melbourne, come down to POG. If you're not in Melbourne, start looking at travel plans. You got a couple of months to organise that, and come and have a crack at winning a trop. Nice.
All right. I think that's about everything we have to talk about, unless you had anything else out on the way out.
No, not really. Just gonna have a run at Mythic again. Okay. I'll see. I'll keep you updated.
All right, I like it.
Yeah.
Watch the various channels to see where Chewy's making his run. So, as always, we talk about the Discord, but it's the place where we all are every day. There's always things happening. There's a Highlander channel, so if you want to talk about sweet brews, there's posts in there on occasion, so people are definitely out and about in there. Otherwise, if you want to check us out in other places, YouTube, we mentioned that before. We've got the top 8 coverage from our event up there. Go check that out. Same with Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Magic Beans Cast everywhere. You can go to magicbeanscast.com. If you want to support us directly, you can do that through our merch store. You can buy sweet playmats and t-shirts and mugs and stickers. Anything you can think of, you can get it printed with a Magic Beans logo on it. So we really appreciate seeing people rocking around in that gear. It always trips us out when someone apart from us is wearing a Magic Beans t-shirt or has an Envy playmat. It's awesome. We absolutely love it. And again, the money that we get from this stuff isn't actually funding a trip to Vegas. We are just putting it back into prizes for our leagues. So, it's sweet. You get to support us and we get to support you guys. Josh and Pat's, we talked about Pat a million times, but, please go check them out, JP MTG Bazaar. I think that's about everything. If you want to follow me on X, sorry, it's not Twitter anymore, Chewy. Got to call it by its right name.
No, it's Twitter. No, Boom and me can't change that. Sorry.
If you want to follow me on Twitter, I am at JoelHill_, and Chewy, you have
at Chewy MTG.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you hanging out with us, and we will see you next time.